First things first, it is cold, cold, cold outside. It's according to AccuWeather, it's -18, and there's a wind chill as well. So it's, as my friend said last night, it's like 1,000 knives going through you when you're out there. I came back from the store and I had this shortness of breath. It was definitely, it felt like when you breathe in, you're inhaling some sort of toxic fumes or something just from the cold. So it is cold, cold, cold. Anyway, the topic for today, actually there's two topics. The first one is basically definitions and meanings and things like that. I think I just listened to I don't know what it was. It wasn't a debate. It was more like a show or a conversation between or among Eric Weinstein, Sam Harris, and Ben Shapiro. And I also listened to I forget where else I heard it from, but there was another podcast or something that I was listening to that was basically talking about the definitions of words and where we're kind of headed now that we live in this kind of post-truth era. So there's a few words that kind of pop out when you talk about the breakdown of language as we see it today in politics and in society, etc., in science, or in areas where there's a lack of scientific research or scientific understanding. And here's a few: global warming, evolution, fake news, terrorism, free speech, alt-right, liberal, feminism, what else? There might be other ones. But yeah, these are some of the biggest issues of our time. And, I feel that maybe these words are poorly defined because they are so popular, or they are so popular because they're ill-defined. I think maybe either is true. But yeah, these are mega issues of our time, and we struggle to define these things. And I know a lot of them sound like words that come out of Donald Trump's Twitter feed, because he's kind of redefining these things. But yeah, some of these words are just huge, and what they imply is really huge, and we struggle with definitions for them. And I'm sure that affects policy decisions and funding to certain groups, to certain governmental departments. I happen to think in Canada, we're at least more aware of them. I don't know that we have better definitions. But we definitely are aware of things like of global warming, etc., etc. And I think maybe a little bit more so than maybe what you would consider Trump's base in the United States. We definitely have a little bit of a better grasp on it. But even though I think we still struggle a lot with these words. And I think because we have a breakdown in meaning of these words, even things like alternative facts, like what are facts, right? Like, I mean, we kind of ruin the discussion. We ruin the idea that science has anything to say about these issues, or maybe not just science, but that these things do have objective meaning. Like, they do have objective meanings that we just fail to live up to or participate in, and the conversation just breaks down because we're just saying things to each other that don't make sense, and we find no common ground or anything like that. Because if the substrate of the conversation is misleading, then what kind of conversation are we having, right? It seems pretty obvious. If you can't define words, then you have nothing. So that's topic one, and then topic two is a little bit more philosophical, if that wasn't enough philosophy for you. Topic two was more about the value of life, and I've been thinking about the value of life. I'm staring at the moral landscape right now, and I know I should be rereading it before I make this post concerning the value of life, but I figure, just make the video. I'll shoot first, ask questions later. I think there is no value to life. I know some people, I forget who it was, but some people try to define the value of life in different contexts, right? So, I mean, if you're looking for the cosmic value of life, there is none. But if you're looking for a terrestrial example of the value of life, you might find some examples. You might find areas in which people value life. But I feel that even on a terrestrial level, when you define value in these different at these different points of the scale, that kind of implies that there is no inherent value to life. And I mean, obviously there isn't. We make that value up. But the fact that you value your son's life over the life of some starving African kid, I mean, that alone shows a huge discrepancy in the way you subjectively define value. It's something definitely made up, right? It's not anything real. Like, you're just putting a value, an arbitrary value, and maybe not so arbitrary. Maybe it has to do with kinship and things like that. But there is no objective value to life. We have to bring that value to life, and it's not to say that we shouldn't bring value to life. We should, and we do it all the time. It's not like, I'm not saying we don't value life ever. I'm just saying we bring that value to life, or different people's lives, and we should bring that value to other people's lives. But if you're looking for any objective value to life, I would say no, that it doesn't exist. It just does not exist. There's too many different factors at play in determining the value of life, which kind of, like I said, kind of diminishes the objective value of it, if there is such a thing. But like I said, I'm eyeing the moral landscape, and I should reread it, just to kind of get my footing on that one before I start spouting out more stuff. So yeah, that's essentially what I want to say. There's a beautiful Carl Sagan quote about us being a way for the universe to know itself, and I think maybe there's some allusion to value there. I mean, is it important that the universe knows itself? I mean, we're still kind of bringing value to that statement, right? I mean, knowledge is valuable to us, blah, blah, blah. But do we really matter that much in the cosmic scheme of things? I think not. Even evolutionarily speaking, on a more biological level, or even a genetic level, the value it just isn't there. It's a messy thing that happens when we, when you think about the timeline of human evolution, or even just animal evolution, or plant evolution, or just evolution in general, and when you talk about living things on the earth, there's no referent, there's no there's nothing. So that's my video. I just want to say that's as much as I could talk about on value. But yeah, the whole definition thing and value thing, blah, 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 they're kind of correlated, but yeah, that's about it. Bye.